Now that we are in a blog page, we should be able to access to the ID which we are sending. So I'm going to the blog page. I should be able to access to the URL. So I am going to ask Next.js for some help, and by importing router with router from next router, and also we are just wrapping the component with this with router. So now our component has got access, and if I go to React tab here and I'll look for the blog, so click here, we have the props, we have the router, and there we have the query, we have the ID, which now is hello slug. And this is a bit of issue. If you remember, we have just in a server.js, we just put the slug to the ID. So let's quickly update our code. So here will be a slug, and actually we are looking for a slug. And if I go to the server would be the same. So our query would be slug, and we are looking for a slug. So if I come back here and refresh, now if I go to the blog, router, query, now we have the slug, and everything works fine. So I'm going to close this one and close that one. And so in a blog item, we don't need to do anything else. Apparently we don't need ID anymore. So I'll come back and just tidy up this code later on. And in the blog, in order to have access to any of those things, as you just saw, we need to go to this.props.router.query.slug, and we have the slug. So now that we have the slug, we should be able to query our Firestore and just find that block. First thing first, we will have a state, which we're going to have a block, which at the beginning is null, and also we are going just to have a component did mount, and there we are just going to find the block and then update the state. So let's find the block. If you go to utility.js, we have a fetch document from collection, but we have the ID. We need slug. So we can modify this one, or we can just create a new one. So I'm just going to create a new one quickly and paste it here. Find document from collection by slug. The names are getting so big, but I think it's fine for now. So we're gonna find it by slug. Oh, we can pass the field actually, just to make it more dynamic, by field name. And so we are just going to pass the collection name and field name and value. Okay, I hope it makes sense. So now we're going to find it, instead of doc, we should look for where field name equals value. Simple as that. And also we can just add one more thing just to make sure we only return one document. So I can say limit 1. So let's see if it works. So we just want to copy this one and export it. And so I'm going to the blog and import it. So import, and this one from utility, and inside the component did mount, we're going to fetch it. So we need to pass an object. Collection name would be blogs. The field we are looking for is going to be slug, and then the value would be, if you remember, it's going to be this one. And it is going to return a promise, so I'm just going to say .then, and then it will return a blog, hopefully. We are going to check it. And inside this one, we're going to check if the blog exists, then update the state. So I'm going to say this dot set state. We're going to do the check in a few seconds, and then obviously blog. And so if I'm just going to update the state, paste it here, and if everything works, we should be able to see the state. Let me refresh the page. Blog, and it's empty. Apparently it's empty. So let's find out why. There we go. That's what we have. We have docs. Docs is an array, and then the first one is the one we need. So maybe I can just change this one to quickly change it to snapshot. And then in order to get the data from snapshot, so const doc will be snapshot, and then if you remember, we had docs would be array, so we're looking for the first one because we are returning only one, and from there, and then let's see, what do we get now? There we go. So this is what we really need. And so we have the data, we have the exists, so we have everything we need. And then we're resolving it. So if I'm just going back here and go back to blog, we don't need package.json anymore. And I'm going just to refresh the page, going to React. If I look in a blog now, we should be able to have a state, hopefully. Yes, we have the state. So now we have the data. I'm just going to get rid of this one. Also, we need to check if the blog is not empty, because let's say I just return instead of the value, I just go back, bring back the console.log, and if I just instead of this one, I'll just pass 1, 2, 3. Here we should get. So if I go to console, cannot read the property exists, so we need to fix this one. I need to check that our snapshot.docs has got a value, otherwise nothing. So if I'm going to say that docs.length is bigger than 0 or equals 1, because we are only returning 1. So if it is 1, then come here and otherwise just resolve empty object again. I think it's getting very messy, so we are coming here and refactor this one later because that's not really what we want. And now we shouldn't have this error anymore, and we should return empty object. So let's quickly fix this one as well. So we are looking for this one. I'm going to refresh the page. And in a blog, in a state, we should have the state. Now I'm going just to pass the data here. And let's just quickly come here and say this dot state dot blog dot title. So we're going to show the title. So let's just refresh the page. And the title is null. So that was expectable because it takes time to fetch data and it comes to the render and the title is not ready. So we can easily check here if this dot state dot blog not equals null, which we can just make sure to check it, or we can say return, well, if it is null, so if it is null, we can just return div for here, just not found, and otherwise just return things. So I'm coming here, I'm going to refresh, not found, and then now it's found and it's going to show it. However, we're coming back and fix this one, but for now we have data from blog in our page.